Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are played in Ultra League Premier Classic. That cup dropped yesterday. I played this team that I played for the second half of my stream on Monday and for all of my sets today. And I've been climbing pretty consistently with it, so I can't wait to show you. It is Ultra Premier Classic, so there are no legendaries, no mythicals, and no XLs. And my first opponent here is FP6. So I am opening with Gallade. I really like Gallade. I've run it in the lead before. A lot of people have run it as a safe swap. I think that if something makes a good safe swap, it makes a good lead. Arguments are pretty much the same, right? Doesn't get hard-walled by too many things. Has pretty good neutral-ish matchups and can, at least, if it really wants to, force switch advantage in a lot of situations. So, Confusion, obviously, as the fast move, really chunks things that don't resist it. Of course, Obstagoon is double resisting the Confusion, so they're really not doing anything there. Styx switches into his Nidoqueen, and rather than throw anything, could have thrown a neutral Leaf Blade, and maybe should have. Instead, I'm just going to switch out into Snorlax here. I think maybe throwing the Leaf Blade first and then switching might have been good, because then I might be able to farm down and end with like double superpower for the Obstagoon. Nidoqueen, pretty spammy. I'm forced to throw this Body Slam here in order to take the Nidoqueen down before I end up eating another Poison Fang, which I would have to shield if I wanted to retain Snorlax. Obstagoon is obviously going to come back out, which is, triple resisting these licks, so I'm just going to throw this Body Slam. Not quite able to reach the superpower. If I was, that would have been amazing. Didn't actually draw a shield. Very good counting by Styx. Bring in my Gallade, which has 2 Leaf Blades loaded. And he catches one of them on his Crobat. Crobat double resists all of Gallade's charge moves. But I mean, the Confusions do pretty substantial damage. So Crobat in the lead isn't so bad. But yeah, that was a really good catch. Ampharos is going to come out, and I am going to be able to farm Crobat down for the most part. I'm going to throw this Thunder Punch here, even though I could probably have gotten away with farming the whole way down. I don't really need to land that much, though. All I need to do is get a Thunder Punch out. And from here, Obstagoon is probably low enough that I'd be able to just farm down. Like, I could shield this. Oh, and I guess I do shield this. Just to get the Volt Switch damage out. I'm going to throw this Thunder Punch because I've got it. And, I'm going to use up Styx's last shield. I have a Leaf Blade loaded on my Gallade, so I'm perfectly safe here at this point. Farms as much energy as he can. Throws the Night Slash, but it's not going to be enough. Gallade will win CMP. So I'm just going to spam out this Leaf Blade, and I managed to take that first game. That is a GG. So having Snorlax and Ampharos behind a Gallade, it does kind of leave me ABA weak to a Trevenant lead. And if you're wondering why my Ampharos is not running Focus Blast and is instead running Dragon Pulse, it's to give it some neutral ways to harm things like Nidoqueen, which would otherwise completely wall it. Has more play against Swampert than it would otherwise. And critically, Trevenant would resist Electric and double resist Fighting, so having Dragon Pulse on Ampharos is kind of necessary to give it some kind of play against Trevenant in case I find Trevenant in the lead, because Gallade is quite bad against Trevenant in the lead. Luckily for me, or maybe that's just the way the meta is, because of how popular Walrein is, there's really not that many Trevenant out. I think all of the ones that I encountered here have been in the back anyway, and if I'm able to get Snorlax aligned with it, obviously that's fantastic. But even in all of my sets on Monday, I think I only saw Trevenant in the lead exactly once. So it hasn't been very popular, so I don't mind that my team has been fairly weak to it. If the meta shifts around and that changes, obviously I'll have to make some kind of an update. But for right now, based on what I'm seeing, this line has worked pretty well, despite that, fairly substantial weakness, I would say. So Ampharos doesn't actually get outpaced by Machamp. Ampharos reaches Thunder Punches in 2.5 Volt Switches, so same amount of time as getting 5 counters in. Ampharos and Machamp can both reach their moves at the same time, so if I'm able to get an energy lead, Ampharos can actually, outpace Machamp. Alright, this next game. Gallade into Heracross, this is a fantastic lead for me. My opponent switches out into Walrein, and I mean, I could have stayed in with Gallade for a while, tried to force a shield by throwing a Leaf Blade. but I felt like it was safer to just try to send Ampharos out right away. Walrein can not one-shot, but after the Powder Snows land, then Walrein can one-shot an Ampharos with its Earthquake if it, chooses to throw that. I ended up no-shielding the first move because it came out a little too early, and this Icicle Spear I will also let go. And I'm going to try to farm the whole way down, and I'm just barely not able to make it because he reaches his next Icicle Spear, so I'm going to end up shielding this. Could maybe have just thrown a Thunder Punch, maybe that would have been better, but I didn't want to leave myself with a lot of farm for his next Pokemon that's going to come out. Heracross is going to come back out, and I am just going to go straight Dragon Pulse. Dragon Pulse is a slightly less efficient move than Thunder Punch, because Thunder Punch has stab and Dragon Pulse does not. But, it does do slightly more total damage. So even though, throwing double Thunder Punch would obviously do more than one Dragon Pulse, if I'm only going to be able to reach one Dragon Pulse or one Thunder Punch, it makes more sense to throw a Dragon Pulse if, they're both hitting for neutral. So I'm able to get my Snorlax out on this Trevenant, which is fantastic for me. This is exactly where I want to see the tree, if I were to see it at all. Snorlax, Shadow Snorlax can survive 3 Seed Bombs. I'm going to end up shielding this anyway because I don't want to get Shadow Claw down. And Snorlax actually needs to just throw its Body Slams in order to take Trevenant down. Like, this Trevenant has had to shield both of those... both of my Body Slams, because if they don't, they won't be able to reach another Seed Bomb. Like, even though the Body Slams are double resisted, you still really need to throw them against Trevenant. Otherwise, Trevenant will actually beat Snorlax in the zeros. Like, in the zeros, you actually have to throw the Body Slams. You can't just lick the whole way down like you can with a Gengar. Alright, next up against Rikio. Gallade into Obstagoon. I definitely pronounced that name wrong. Gallade into Obstagoon. So, confusions are going to do not much. The way I usually play out an Obstagoon matchup is to build up to a close combat or past it, and then bait with Leaf Blade. If they no shield, I can pretty much start going straight Leaf Blade because that will leave Obstagoon pretty low. They get the boost, which is terrible for me, obviously. I'm going to shield this Night Slash, although I would have shielded it anyway. And now I'm just going to go straight Leaf Blade. Players tend to be pretty protective of their Obstagoons once they've boosted. I'm going to throw this next Leaf Blade before they get to their next Night Slash, just so I don't, go down shields. And they shield that one also, so that's fine. I'm going to have to shield this, because I really want to be able to land my close combat, although the danger is that, if they switch out and make a catch, it's pretty easy to make that catch, because I have to throw the close combat exactly there. Like, I can't build up one extra confusion, or, depending on, like, Fast Move, Denial, and Sneaks, Obstagoon can reach another Night Slash and take me out, and that would be terrible, because then I'd have a boosted Obstagoon with no good way of taking it out. So I opted to throw. At least if I did throw the move, then, they could switch. If they switched out to catch, at least they would have cleared their own attack buff. So Obstagoon's going to come back out, and I don't have Focus Blast on my Ampharos, so I am forced to go straight Thunder Punch. I was hoping that this Dragon Pulse would be enough to take them out after that, because it does, a little bit more, but yeah, because they snuck in a counter, Obstagoon is actually going to be able to reach a Night Slash. Leaves Ampharos super low, and my opponent switches out into Toxicroak to land the final counter. So this is all right. I send my Gallade in and throw one Confusion. I probably should have just stayed in and thrown another Confusion. I think it would have landed. Like, it looks like I actually would have survived too. But instead, I ended up switching out Snorlax, and I guess I needed to, let myself get farmed down more here. But since I'm confident that Gallade won't be able to survive 2 counters, in order to actually take the win, I need to lick this Obstagoon down. And I don't quite make it. Obstagoon survives with a little bit of HP, and I'm not able to get my Confusion in. This Night Slash obviously is going to KO. And yeah, I go down in that game. That's a GG, though. I probably could have played that a little more cleanly in the end. I really think I just needed to stay in with Gallade against Toxicroak and get countered down. Just landing the second Confusion would have helped. All right, so Gallade into Shadow Gallade, or Gallade Mirror. They both function pretty much the same way. Confusions will do similar amounts of damage. Like, I have more defense, they have more attack. It levels out exactly, so this matchup ends up being exactly even, as though we were 2 regular Gallades. So I denied a confusion, they denied a confusion, and yeah, we didn't even determine who was going to win CMP. They made a catch on their Leaf Blade, but I got a big refund, so I was able to throw a close combat instead, which helps me out a lot. I don't know why the game is inconsistent like that, but you know, I'm sure it happens to me sometimes also when I make a catch and I'm like, I can't believe that person didn't throw. They could have and just got a refund. There's no way to know. So I'm gonna Thunder Punch this Muck and take them out. My Ampharos still has a little bit of energy. And Gallade is gonna win CMP, so I am gonna no shield. Like, if I wasn't trying to spam out that Thunder Punch and was just going for a farm down, I would have shielded, but that situation didn't really enable me to do that. Obstagoon is going to come out into Snorlax. This is obviously a terrible matchup for Snorlax. I need to land a superpower, and I need to not land a debuffed superpower. So I'm going to throw this one here. It's a little bit early. I was hoping they would no shield, but they do. I'm going to switch out into Gallade. Wasn't able to catch a move, so now I am going to bring Snorlax back out. I'm going to shield this. I need to be able to reach my superpower, but this Obstagoon is already at back-to-back. Also, they get a boost. Not that that makes any difference at all. Although even if they had to counter me down from there once boosted, I think they might have been able to counter me down before I reached the second superpower. So, close game, but yeah, it did drop that match also. Still, not bad. I get a 3 out of 5. I get a Larvitar, which is fine. Gonna catch that and go up to 32-36. Alright. Next up, against King Rayquaza. So, Gallade into Machamp. Obviously, this is a fantastic matchup. Assuming the Machamp doesn't have payback, and almost none of them do. Gallade is pretty much a wall to Machamp, resists all of their moves. They switch in a Typhlosion, and for whatever reason, I stay in with Gallade. I'm quite confident the thing I'm supposed to do is switch out to Snorlax immediately. Like, I forgot how to play this matchup, so I ended up staying in, building up energy on Gallade, but since I'm not able to lick down here, and this Typhlosion is going to reach their next Blast Burn at the end of that Incinerate, really would have been better for me to just switch into Snorlax right away. Throw one Body Slam. So I still have a Body Slam loaded, and I'm about to reach a superpower. So I'm going for the superpower because I'm hoping that with this defense fall, the Machamp will only get 2 counters in, not 3, and that actually happens. So debuffing myself takes one, counter of farm away from the Machamp. So it does make a difference. Gonna go with straight Leaf Blade against this Walrein. It sneaks in a move and then throws its charge move instantly, and I don't get to sneak anything, and that's whatever. So just going to spam out my Leaf Blade as soon as I can before I end up having to shield another Icicle Spear. And since they let that one go, I'm going to switch out into my Ampharos now. Because Ampharos will have a much better time farming Walrein down with Volt Switches. Since I reached my Thunder Punch, I might as well throw it. Pretty sure they're going to end up letting this go, which is good because they were pretty much at the Icicle Spear. Machamp is going to come back out, and I am going to throw my Thunder Punch just to use up this last shield. All I really need to do is land a pair of Confusions at this point, it looks like. And if I can get enough Volt Switches in, I might only have to land 1 Confusion, which would be ideal. I'm out of shields. Machamp builds up as much energy as it reasonably can, throws the Cross Chop. I'm going to get in my Confusion. The Machamp survives because this is a non-shadow. But since it's a non-shadow, it's not really hitting as hard. They throw the Rock Slide. It does not quite take me out. And I'm able to Confusion down before they get to another move. That is a GG. That was a really close game, though. Considering like how strongly Gallade wins the Machamp lead. All right, next up against Chespin to win. Gallade into Escavalier. So this is like a neutral-ish matchup. Like if Gallade baits, then it can outpace Escavalier, but baiting is so dangerous because the Leaf Blade is double resisted, and so if I bait and it doesn't work out, it puts me in a really terrible spot. I end up throwing my close combat here right before I'm at back-to-back, and they managed to catch the close combat on their Gliscor, which is ridiculous. I mean, even single resisted, it still does pretty substantial damage. At this point, I'm going to switch out into Snorlax, and since they're throwing their Night Slash right away, I'm just going to farm unless they, approach their Earthquake. Like, since they're throwing another move here to do this chip damage, I'm going to no shield and I'm going to farm down. Like if they didn't throw the Night Slashes and just built up energy to the Earthquake, I would throw a Body Slam to prevent myself from having to shield an Earthquake. Since they were just going to go straight Night Slash, I was fine with taking the chip damage and just ending with energy. That way I can not really have to worry about getting farmed down by a Escavalier, and I have energy to throw. Like, it's much better for me that they threw the Night Slashes and did the chip damage than if they just threatened Earthquake and forced me to throw something. And then there's a Shadow Snorlax in the back, which I insta-swapped my Ampharos into. So they are obviously going to go straight Body Slam. Ampharos outpaces Snorlax. Body Slam to Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch just comes out a little bit faster. But, Snorlax is quite a bit tankier, so if this were in the zeros and I was going straight Thunder Punch, would definitely end up losing it. Since the Snorlax is already pretty low, though, and I'm not in danger of being licked down, I can just shield that, and, if I reach my Thunder Punch, I'll throw it. If they want to shield this, that's fine. They're super low already. At this point, I can just Confusion them down. And, Escavalier goes down to 1 Volt Switch also. And then I managed to take that game. That is a GG. Okay, so next up against Takahiro. Gallade into Walrein. So you would think that this would be a good matchup for Gallade, being that I'm hitting for neutral and Leaf Blade is super effective, whereas Walrein can only hit me back for neutral with Icicle Spear. Icicle Spear is just a really, really good move, though. Very efficient and very spammy, so... like in the zeros, Walrein will just outpace Gallade. And I can't actually survive 2 Icicle Spears after all of the Powder Snows. Like, I would technically survive this Icicle Spear, just barely. I switch out into Ampharos to try to make a snipe, and they bring out a Trevenant into me, which would be really terrible if my Ampharos didn't have Dragon Pulse. Since I do, it's only kind of bad. They no-shield the Dragon Pulse, so that is a good start for me. I'm also able to sneak in a Volt Switch when they throw, because they throw on alignment. I'm going to shield this. Turns out to be a Shadow Ball. That also is fantastic, which means I'm going to be able to throw this Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch from here would, I think, barely KO, but I would be able to farm them down with Volt Switch. And since I'm able to outpace them, I'm able to get to this next Thunder Punch faster. I'm going to throw that too, and if they want to shield, that's fine, and they let it go. So there's a Heracross in the back. I switch out into my Gallade right away, and for whatever reason, I'm throwing a Close Combat, which is definitely the wrong move. I mean, because I know how this game plays out. Puts me into a position where I get farmed the whole way down. If I had just thrown Leaf Blade and just pretty much relied on Confusion to do the damage, would have been in a much better spot, because Heracross would have been forced to throw some energy. Now it is loaded on energy. Close Combat Snorlax wasn't able to make a catch or anything. And they already have another Close Combat loaded for Ampharos. So, yeah, throwing the Close Combat with Gallade, huge mistake. But, I mean, I'm still kind of getting accustomed to this team. So, while it's still fresh, mistakes are going to happen. But, just keeping that in mind, so that if I'm in a situation like that again next time, I'll be able to play it out better. All right. Toxicroak lead, fantastic for Gallade. They swap into Snorlax. I am staying in for a bit. This is a non-Shadow Snorlax, so throwing the Leaf Blade, get a shield, because I built up to what could be the Close Combat first. So I'm going to shield the Body Slam, and now I'm going to switch out into my Snorlax, because I definitely want to maintain Gallade for taking out Toxicroak. So here I'm making a mistake, which is going straight Superpower. This is not necessary at this health range. I'm not going to be able to take out the Snorlax with 1 Superpower unless they hit Superpowered first. They end up throwing a Body Slam bait, which is fine with me, and I'm going to spam out my next Body Slam because I can't survive a Superpower anymore now that I've debuffed myself. They shield that, and then they switch out into their Toxicroak. So that's fine. I mean, these counters are doing tremendous, tremendous damage, but I am able to reach this Body Slam, so I am going to be able to stall out the Switch Clock. Switch out into my Gallade. I'm going to be able to Confusion the rest of the way down. Toxicroak doesn't throw anything. It's possible that my opponent lagged or something, or just had no answer anymore to a Gallade and resigned the game. Whatever the situation was, that was a GG. All right, next up against Pazuko. Walrein in the lead again. Walrein is a very popular lead right now. I realize I haven't seen them too much until like the last 2 or 3 battles, but Saw a lot of them in the lead yesterday, and I expect that to continue. So I'm going to play this out the same way. This time I am at least building up to the close combat, threatening close combat before throwing the Leaf Blade, even though they both hit for super effective. Walrein survives the Leaf Blade easily and does not survive the close combat at all. So now I'm going to be able to shield this, and I'm in a better situation now that I'm able to force shields out because, you know, now if we end up taking it into the multi-shield, I kind of have the option of how I want to play it out. I decide I'm going to take switch advantage in this game, shield that Icicle Spear, and now I am just going to spam out the Leaf Blade. That is going to take out the Walrein, because, you know, now after I've done all this confusion damage, now it's enough. And there's a Kanto Muck in the back, so I'm not quite able to get in my third confusion, although that extra bit of damage would have been fantastic. Going to send out Snorlax. Stay in for a bit, switch out to Machamp. I'm really quick to the swap, sending out Ampharos. This is fine. Shields are down. This is okay now. They are going to reach their move here, and it is just a cross chop, which I will survive. I'm going to throw my Dragon Pulse undertapped to get to it. Probably shouldn't have done that because they got in a free counter. Going to land that Dragon Pulse, and yeah, they're going to get in one more counter, and now their move, so now they're going to be able to throw this cross chop, take me out. Thankfully, they're low enough. Snorlax is able to lick down before I end up taking another counter, because, you know, every bit of health really counts at this point. Like, this Muck has some energy. Thankfully, Kanto Muck usually is just carrying Dark Pulse and Thunder Punch, so it doesn't really have an amazingly strong neutral hit, but I'm so low already. This is going to be really, really close whether or not I survive this Dark Pulse, and I don't accept that I do, and I survive with, like, a tiny-ass amount of HP, too little to see. Able to throw that Body Slam, and I managed to take that game. That is a GG. So, yeah, IVs definitely matter. My Shadow Snorlax has very good IVs. I want to say it's rank 12, but now I'm not so sure. I know it's in like the top 30. But yeah, that was a 4 out of 5, and I go up to 3281, which is pretty good. And on to the next set. Next up, against Y to win. So, Gallade into Chandelure. This isn't the most common thing, but some people definitely do play it. Just going to go straight Confusion up to that point. It is 3 Incinerates to the Flame Charge, same as like Talonflame or anything else. And now I'm just going to throw 1 Confusion and then throw my Leaf Blade. Should have thrown a second Confusion, actually, because that's the second Confusion that I get in. I wouldn't actually receive the damage from their second Incinerate. So, you know, that might be a slight improvement that I could make on that for next time I play that matchup. Gonna end up switching out into Ampharos once they bring in their, I forgot what, because I was talking. But yeah, they end up bringing a Shadow Machamp into it, and that's fine with me. Since my Ampharos switched out first, I'm actually going to be able to outpace the Machamp. I'm going to no-shield this Cross Chop, and that means I'm beating them to my Thunder Punch. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to shield this, because if they do, I'll just Confusion them down with my Gallade. You know, it doesn't make much sense. Walrein's going to come back out, and they are going to throw their energy before I'm able to reach my next Thunder Punch, which is fine. Like, I absolutely don't mind just letting this Walrein throw their energy. And now I'm going to send out Snorlax. Snorlax, a lot bulkier, has more survivability than Gallade does. And, like, they would barely survive a superpower from this range, but I'm going to just throw Body Slam anyway. Just because, you know, even if the Body Slam lands, you know, it still puts them low enough that I don't really have to worry about it. I can just lick down or Confusion down at this point. Like, I don't need to shield anything or throw anything else. Like, they're going to throw their energy before I'm able to reach my next Body Slam, but I'm just going to let this go, come back in with Gallade, and just Confusion down. And I just take that game. That's GG. Yeah, like, one of the ways that I could have lost that, or that it could have been more precarious for me, would have been if I threw the superpower and they shielded it and were able to take out my Snorlax too early, or, you know, before I was able to put them down into, like, farm range for something. So it was just safer to go straight Body Slam in that situation. So this time I respond to the Snorlax safe swap by sending out my Ampharos. kind of just, like I said, was getting used to this team and trying to see how I felt about that because I wasn't feeling amazingly comfortable sending Snorlax out into other Snorlaxes. Just because they have that slight energy lead, and I'm not quite sure how much damage I want to do with Gallade before switching. Decided to try sending out Ampharos because Ampharos outpaces. Even with this Shadow Snorlax, I end up having to shield one of the body slams, and I'm just spamming out my Thunder Punches, managed to take that Snorlax down. Toxicroak's going to come back out, and I'm not going to be able to reach the double Thunder Punch, so I'm just going to throw the Dragon Pulse, going to do a little bit more damage. Puts this Toxicroak nearly into one confusion range. They throw one counter, and now they're throwing their move, and they're probably going to try to transfer their confusion, but then I look at it, and the confusion didn't transfer onto the Walrein. So that means that the confusion landed on Toxicroak before they switched out. Not sure if that was intentional from them or not. So there is a Toxicroak back there, but since it's taken the confusion, it has incredibly low HP, like low enough that Snorlax can probably lick down, and I'm cognizant of that because I was watching the health bars when they made that switch. It's kind of one of the things you have to do when you're expecting your opponent to swap out to catch something or to transfer some damage. So I'm just going to bring my Snorlax out. I'm not going to let this Walrein build up too much energy. They go straight Earthquake. I think it's actually more efficient to just go double Icicle Spear when you're the Walrein. But yeah, I'm able to throw that superpower once the Walrein is in superpower range, and I'm able to just lick down the Toxicroak since it had absorbed that confusion. And that's a GG. Okay, next up against Great Wolf. So Gallade into Muck. Kanto Muck, just straight poison. This is a pretty good matchup for Gallade because the confusions do so much. They switch out into Walrein, and I am just going to send out my Ampharos. Ampharos is okay against Muck. Snorlax is okay against Muck, but, I have Gallade, which is a very strong response to it, so I might as well save it for that. Able to land this first Thunder Punch. I definitely wanted to spam that out early, and I am going to shield this because it could be an Earthquake, and it actually is. To my opponent's credit, I do not get baited with Icicle Spear for once. So because of that, I'm not going to throw my next Thunder Punch. I'm just going to go for a full farm down and take the one Icicle Spear. Find out what is left over in the back, and Muck comes back out. So I'm going to go straight Thunder Punch here. Looking at how much damage this does, like, in the moment, I thought that Dragon Pulse might do enough for me to farm down with Volt Switch, but it really doesn't do that much more damage than Thunder Punch does, like maybe like 30-ish% more. And I actually do reach enough energy where if I had thrown Thunder Punch, I would have been able to reach a third one. So that would have been better because it would have either forced them to throw their energy to prevent me from reaching the third one, or shield if they wanted to retain Muck with Muck's energy. As that is, I ended up, now there is a double shielded Obstagoon left over, and I've got a Snorlax behind my Gallade. So this is, far from ideal. I'm going to use my last shield here so that I can get out my last close combat, and Obstagoon gets a boost. So this is dangerous. So I'm going to throw this close combat. I get the last shield, switch out into Snorlax. They are countering down, and now that they are double boosted, the counters are doing so much damage. My licks are doing nothing. I desperately need to reach the superpower before I get countered down. I'm able to get there right like when I'm one counter away from going down, and this Obstagoon is also reaching the energy for its next move. Able to land that, and it barely is enough to take out Obstagoon. Yeah, so that's a GG, but that was a crazy close game, and that boost was so scary at the end there. Gosh. All right. Game 4 of this set, Gallade into Ampharos. So, Ampharos outpaces Gallade, but only slightly. I can survive a Thunder Punch without really any problem. I usually try to squeeze in an extra move here when they're throwing their Thunder Punch. So, I will survive the first one, no problem. It shows that I got a confusion in and I'm throwing my move, but if you take a look at my energy and my opponent's health, that was just a visual glitch. I don't like it. It showed when I snuck, and then it also showed afterwards. But I still only have the energy from 6 confusions, so it wasn't like I got a free bonus confusion there. It was a weird visual glitch. So Obstagoon's going to come out. I'm going to throw this close combat. It would obviously one-shot, and, I expect them to shield, and they do. And, I get countered down. So that's okay. So I'm going to send my Ampharos out. And my Ampharos doesn't actually have an amazing way to even really KO Obstagoon. All I can do is go straight Thunder Punch. My opponent switches out a little bit early into the Nidoqueen, maybe trying to catch a Focus Blast, but I wouldn't have been there yet. It's 5 Volt switches to the Focus Blast. And rather than throw a Dragon Pulse, which I maybe should have thrown, because I'm quite confident Nidoqueen would no-shield that, and then maybe I could switch out with Snorlax and just farm down and end with double superpower, that would probably have been a better way to play this game out than what I'm doing, which was switching into Snorlax right away and saving my Ampharos, which doesn't have an amazing way of taking out Obstagoon anyway. Yeah, just gonna throw this next Body Slam. I get a shield off of Nidoqueen, so that is fine for me. I'm spamming out Thunder Punch, which I don't know if it would have even taken out Nidoqueen from there. They catch it on their Obstagoon, but that's what I would have had to throw against Obstagoon anyway. I'm throwing my next Thunder Punch. It leaves them kind of low, but I'm going to try to farm them the whole way down. So I'm not going to shield this first move in case they get the boost. They keep doing it, and instead they throw a Gunk Shot. So yeah, that's a GG. That was such a weird... I don't know. Me and my opponent both played that game out kind of strangely. But all right. So, Gallade into Toxicroak, fantastic lead. They switch out into Shadow Snorlax, and apparently I'm still doing every random thing when a Shadow Snorlax comes in. I have not figured out how I want to play that yet. I think I actually have to actually sit down and look into that. So, I send my Snorlax out here, and based on how much damage I do with this Body Slam, it teaches me that I actually want to land 4 Confusions before switching out. So 4 Confusions plus a Leaf Blade puts the Snorlax into Body Slam range. So that's how I'm going to end up doing that next time when it's a Shadowlax safe swap. So since I didn't do that this time, I end up shielding the Superpower, the second one, which, still leaves me with a lot of health to be farmed down with by this Toxicroak. But as long as I maintain alignment, Toxicroak can't really do anything against Gallade. I mean, the Sludge Bomb absolutely hurts. Waiting out my switch clock because hours are desynced since I had waited before switching out of, before switching my counter swap in. So no shielding the Mud Bomb, and there's a Walrein in the back, so that's fine. Yeah, I'm just going to throw my Leaf Blade, and then after I get this shield, which I will almost definitely get since this is their last Pokemon, I can just send out my Ampharos. And I'm switching them out early enough that I don't have to worry about them getting to an Earthquake before I reach a move. They decide to start going straight Icicle Spear, and Ampharos actually can survive like 2 Icicle Spears with all of the Powder Snows. Like, Ampharos is actually a very good answer to Walrein for that reason. So gonna no shield this because at this point they are low enough that I can confusion them down, and I don't really need to take out this Walrein specifically with Ampharos. I can just let Gallade come in and just confusion them down from that health range, so able to manage to take that game. That's a GG. Yeah, trying to throw my energy with Ampharos or take them out would have just given Toxicroak the ability to farm me down, to farm down Ampharos and maybe reach a move against Gallade, which could have put me in a more dangerous position. Just felt safer to play that out with just, after I landed enough moves to just rely on fast move damage. So that is another 4 out of 5. I go up to 33-18, which as of today leaves me at number 51 on the leaderboard. This is today's... Yeah, so not quite a page 1 finish, but all the same, I have been on a really consistent climb with this team. Hope to play it more for the next couple of days, maybe climb a little bit higher. Yeah, I don't know. Try it out. Let me know how that goes. Don't forget, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to do the things that you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You know you're supposed to do them. Just do the things. It helps me out a lot. I'll see you guys on the next one.